Hey everyone, this is Combach VZ58 and I am making a video for the first time in probably over 6 months. And this video is going to be for Cold War collectors. I may do a follow-up video on my own channel. This is for Webbing Wednesday and this is the Iraqi Pattern 58 webbing. So let's begin with the main webbing. Let me just move some of this other stuff out of the way. And you might ask why there are all those additional webbing components and chest rigs and extra backpack and stuff. I'll get into that in a minute, but first off, I'm just going to start with the webbing itself before I get into anything else. So, as you can already tell from the title and from just how the webbing looks, this is a copy of the very well-known British Pattern 58 webbing. And, it has water bottle, ammo pouches, kidney pouch, poncho roll, and backpack and suspenders and belt, and bayonet in a full setup. And right here, what you see right now, that is a full setup of Pattern 58. And it's a little difficult to actually find a full set of Iraqi webbing. They're not rare, but when you buy them, they will almost never be a full set. This is actually a compilation of pieces from 2 sets, and that's how I made such a full set right here. As you can see, there are different colors. This isn't really based on the sets of webbing as much as the, the Iraqi government would issue different parts from different years to soldiers, especially during the Gulf War and the Iran-Iraq War, when there were some desperate measures needed to be taken to equip all their soldiers. So you can see, let's start with the base belt. The belt for the webbing, which is also the Iraqi Army's trouser belt, is the Pattern 58 belt, and as you can see, it's pretty different from the British one. The British one is green with anodized black. This one has a goldish silver. I mean, it's originally gold, but it's got a goldish silver tint on the metal. And at the very bottom, we have the poncho roll. And you can see where the tools would fit in and where your NBC suit or your, NBC or chemical suit or your poncho or your blanket would fit in, because Iraqi soldiers use the poncho roll for several different things. We can see how it connects to the ammunition pouches on each side and how it connects to the belt itself. The belt has obviously those little D-rings that all 58 belts that are actually British-based have. So moving to the left side, here we have our first ammunition pouch. And this can hold, British ones could hold like 3 L1A1 SLR magazines, and in the original British ones with AK magazines, you can actually fit 3, and just like the SLR. But with this one, you can only fit 2 AK magazines, so I can only assume that that's what they were intended for. We have our grenade launching attachment pocket on this side, and of course the canvas is a slightly lower quality because these were actually manufactured throughout the Middle East. They were manufactured in Pakistan, and for the Iraqi government, they actually had some produced by South Korean companies and Chinese companies as well. But that was later. All the stuff they used in the 80s, pretty much British and Pakistani. And in Gulf War, you can see South Korean, Pakistani, Jordanian, all the different 58 manufacturers. Here's the second ammunition pouch. It's slightly more tan than the other one, as you can see. Actually much more tan. It's more like the belt. And it has its bayonet attachment, which not all the Iraqi ones had. Because, the Iraqi webbing was intended for use with the AK-47 and AKM, and the M70 Tabuk rifles, as well as many other variants, of course. So this type of bayonet was never used. So there was no need for this in the first place. But since the Pakistanis manufactured the webbing, the Pakistanis used that variant of bayonet with some of their rifles, as well as the G3 bayonet, which I think they attached to the webbing as well. So moving along, we have our canteen pouch, a very strange weave on the material, and a black plastic toggle. And inside, it's an unlined pouch. It's just canvas on the inside. We have our water bottle. This may, at first, look just like the 58 water bottle, which I don't actually have. I have the 58 British webbing, which I might do for a Webbing Wednesday, but maybe not, because I think I've already done a video on that on my main channel, Comblock VZ58. But you can see that it's actually dark green. It's not actually black. Like the British one is black. And this may be smaller than the British one. This part is incomplete. It doesn't have the handles, and I assume that this is a manufacturing error. So what they would do is you'd have this piece, and then you would put the metal parts in there, like the handles that you would grip, because this is like the cup when you turn it upside down, and then they would mold the other plastic parts on top, and here that just didn't happen. Maybe budget cut, because it really doesn't seem like it was broken off. But it could have been broken off. Now, in a second, I'm gonna flip the webbing over, but to show the kidney pouches and such. But first, I thought I would talk about the bayonet that I have on my webbing. God damn it! Just a sec. I gotta. There we go. So, on my webbing, I personally have a Hungarian AKM bayonet, which came with the webbing. This one is an Iraqi Hungarian bayonet. The Iraqis were known for using a variety of bayonets. I actually have a few different variants of styles that they used over near my chest rigs over there, and I will show you those in a minute. But, let's flip the webbing over. And, of course, you know, standard type of connection for how the backpack hangs off the suspenders. Excuse me. All the connections other than that, or including that rather, they have like a little wooden thing, I believe, or it might be foam or cardboard or something, just to keep the shape of these, I don't know what they're called. The part that just goes in the metal loop. But, you know, the construction, again, isn't as good. This backpack is missing its little, metal plate cover things that let it slide through the, D-ring more easily, but that's a really small thing. I think I got a really nice set of webbing, personally, because there's very little damage. Even the kidney pouches include the internal loop. If you know what this internal loop is for with the 58 webbing, please do tell me. I think it might be for the mess kit. But, you know, on British, I've seen it, and I have no idea what it does at all. And I've got 2 kidney pouches. They are still attached, which is somewhat uncommon because often Iraqi soldiers would cut that for some reason or it would break. All the connections between the suspenders and the ammo pouches, the backpack and the ammo pouches are still intact, which is really nice. And as you can see, I have a pillow in there just to keep the shape for this video so that it looked proper. And if you didn't already see the suspenders, they're pretty standard. They're not very different from the 58. They attach to everything attaches the same exact way as on the 58 webbing. So I'm just going to move this webbing out of the way for a minute while I discuss the other parts of this webbing. So something that was standard with the webbing was a gas mask. Not every Iraqi soldier carried this. This one is a 90s Yugoslavian. Well, it wasn't made in the 90s, but it was issued in the 90s. I have no idea what year it's from. I actually broke part of the mask, which I was kind of pissed about. I mean, it's not a big deal. Right there, I broke the rubber because it wasn't very strong. You can see the mask. It's a Yugoslavian copy of a US mask, I think. I think it's a copy of the M9.